Good morning and welcome to the Nova Show. I'm your host, Chris Nova. Welcome to the show. Here at the Nova Show, we do what I want when I want because it's my fucking show. Today on the Nova Show, we're looking at eBPF containers, our internal cache in the Aurae project, and whatever else I decide to look at today. How's everybody doing today? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, welcome in. Welcome to the show. How are the sound levels out there? The voice should not be overdriven, but it should be prominent. The music should be at a nice, gentle, minus 30 decibels in the background. Should sound good. No echoey, loud, empty reverb sounds. It should be prominent and crisp. Sounds perfect, says Althea Lisa. Good morning, Faff in a Boot. Cuxaku is here. Good morning, Cuxaku. Ascertainment confirms. Sounds great. Taniwa says, it's even crazier. eBPF is like having a mini VM in your operating system where you can run arbitrary snippets of code in a constrained way. Tani says, good morning. Hey, Tani. How's it going, Tani? Super Ace is here talking about a new event. Do we maybe want to look at this event and do a small news peruse? It's Saturday. A news peruse on a Saturday always kind of sucks, but we can maybe do just a mini news peruse before we get started. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let me fix this little piece of hair here. There we go. Yeah, we can do a news peruse and look at the event. What do y'all think? I think we should. Fuck it. It's my show. We're gonna do what I want. Welcome to the Nova Show, the show where we do what I want when I want because it's my fucking show. I swear a lot on the show. I hope you all are okay with this. Also, who's new here? Do we have any new folks in the audience before we get started? I would love to just spend a quick moment and introduce anyone who's new to the group here. Dismento says, I am new. Well, nice to meet you, new. I am Chris Nova. Dismento says first ever Twitch stream. Let's see, what would I say to somebody who this was their first Twitch stream? Oh, so here's the deal. There's gonna be commercials, and they're gonna be annoying because they're gonna show up on your end. So there's two good ways you can get rid of commercials. Number one, you ask me nicely, and I'll make you a VIP for the show, and I'll welcome you in, and you'll get to bypass all the commercials just for today only. Which that's pretty much like giving you your first hit at crack. The second way is if you really love me and you like the show, there's a button. It's right, so if you look right here, right over here on your screen, there is like right down there, there's a little subscribe button. It's blue. It should be like you should see like some little like numbers and like it's like on the actual web page. If you click the subscribe button, I think it's like $3 or something. You subscribe to my channel for a month, and a portion of that subscription goes to supporting the Aurae project and the Hackaderm social media service. And so anyway, that's the second good way to get rid of commercials. Also, because Amazon bought Twitch, I guess there's like a Prime thing now. I don't really know anything about it, but as of course you would expect, Amazon wants you to just have an Amazon subscription, no matter what. And so if you buy Prime and you have it hooked up, I think you also can bypass the commercials. Anyway, good morning. Let's do our news peruse. So, if you're new to the show, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you don't know what you are, welcome to the party. News peruse is an exciting part of the show. We don't do them very often. We used to do them a lot more, but not so much anymore. So I'm going to make a few quick changes to the stream, and then we will cut over and do a small news peruse. Taniwa has gifted a sub, and All Thalisa has also subscribed. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so the news peruse, we don't do it as much as we used to. I feel like the news peruse is what gets me all the followers, so I try not to do it too much because I don't want to draw too much attention to myself. I just want to work on Rust and people to leave me alone. That's literally all I want in this world, but of course, the internet has other plans. Okay, so news peruse. You will figure it out as we go. And let's begin. Hello and welcome to the news peruse. I'm your host, Chris Nova. Welcome to the show. So we have 3 simple rules when we do a news peruse. Number 1, no drama. I work in the tech industry. I am not going to talk shit about other people, and we hope that they don't talk shit about us. Number 2, we keep it positive. So if there's something that we can say positively, we make it a point to do it. We keep our heads up. And number 3, we share the facts. And if you're lucky, I might share one of my own personal opinions. Now, we're going to do Hackaderm from the top down, and we're going to do Hacker News from the bottom up, and we're going to look at the new event on ActivityPub that was shared in the chat earlier, and let's begin. Okay, so let's see here. So we're going to do Hackaderm from the top down. So we'll go to Hackaderm. And we have, I believe we go to Hackaderm/explore. And there's, see this news button right here? We're gonna look at this. We're gonna see what we got here in news. Holy fuck says that cutover and delivery was awesome. Thank you. We do have a lot of fun here at the Nova Show. So welcome in, welcome to the show. Okay, so number 1, Cloudflare wants to help you set up your own Mastodon server in minutes. Fascinating. It took, what, 3 months? 3 months for the cloud providers to catch on? The Wildebeest is a new project from Cloudflare that is designed to make it easier for individual. Here, let's do this. We will make this a little easier. I know we have a lot of old people who follow my show. We have a lot of old people who follow the show. So we will do our best to keep it kind of straightforward here. The Wildebeest is a project from Cloudflare. And what's this crap over? This just looks so horrible, but whatever. And it looks like it's an open source, easy to deploy ActivityPub Mastodon compatible server built entirely on top of. And then is that just the blog? Here we go. So this is the good article. Let's close that and let's read this one. This looks fascinating. So the Fediverse built on Cloudflare. And you know, one of the things I'm going to do really quick, I'm going to just update my title. And see if I can update my title here as well. So it says, today you're left with 2 options if you want to join Mastodon Federated Network. Either you join one of the existing servers, we'll go see, or you can run your own self-hosted server, which makes sense. There are a few reasons why you want to run your own server. Here's a link, by the way. Let me drop a link in. We do all of our chatting in the Twitch chat. So if you want to come follow along, you can come to the Twitch chat and you can see it there. Here's what we support today: ActivityPub, WebFinger, Node, WebPush, etc., etc., etc. How we built it. Our implementation is built entirely on top of our products and APIs. Building Wildebeest was another excellent opportunity to showcase our technology stack. See, can I be super fucking judgmental for a second? Are y'all okay if I'm just like super fucking judgy? Hold on one second, I want to move this bar down. So there's this title bar here. I just want to it's just bothering me. Just want to make it really tiny. There we go. We'll put it right here. And we'll put it right there. And the title text. So let's see if I can just barely click that. There we go. Title text. Ah, this is gonna bother me. There we go. There it is. Okay. So we'll put the thing down there while we do the news peruse. Okay. So basically what this is saying is our implementation is built entirely on top of our products and APIs. Building Wildebeest was another excellent opportunity to showcase our technology stack's power and versatility and how we prove anyone can also use Cloudflare. To me, the reason I want to be judgmental here, well, I mean, just because I am an INTJ, but also, it's just I look out for this stuff because I hope one day to start my own company, and this is the type of stuff that I watch out for. To me, this says, it could say we have really useful products and we used them to build a new service. It could also say all of our other products have been a flop and we're trying to like add some more like scope creep on top of them, in the hopes of trying to sell something. And so like, I don't want to be too terribly judgmental here, but this is just the type of stuff I look at when I look at products in the ecosystem, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with trying to take advantage of like the shit you've built. And if it really is useful and it's working out for you, then great. I also have seen like many startups like rebrand their shit like time and time and time again. And it's like, are you a storage provider or are you a network provider? Oh, you're a cloud now. Oh, nope, you're a deployment shop. Nope, you do logs now. Like, and it's just kind of like, if you do everything, you do nothing. And so this has just been one of those things. Personally, I fucking love Cloudflare. I think they're doing good things. So I put them on par with like Fly.io. I think they're going to do good things. I think like all startups, myself included, they're going to make some mistakes. But overall, I think they're doing better than most. And that's just my opinion. And I told you I would share my opinion. Really fucking lucky. So anyway, this talks a lot about the API endpoint. Unit testing these endpoints become easier too. It looks like this is TypeScript. What is this written in? Cloudflare Pages. At the core, Wildebeest is the Cloudflare Pages project using Pages functions. Ah, fascinating. Cool. This is a great article. In fact, I'm going to share this with some of my colleagues at work. Under the sort of moderation as a service for hosted service like this, moderation as a service, that could be something Nivenly offers. Who knows? I know the person behind Cloudflare Workers. He's a really good engineer. See, there you go. All right, next up, we have Neuralink transported brain implants covered in pathogens. Group alleges. Fascinating. Google's Go may add telemetry that's on by default. So if I had to guess before we even open up the register here, before we even open up this article, if I had to guess, here's my guess. Here's my speculation. Y'all want to see how good? Let's see how good I am. Just reading the title of shit and being super judgmental. My guess is that the Go project in the 1.20 release, which came out very recently, I think a few weeks ago. I think it was like last week or the week before, actually. They had made some big changes. I myself was critical of the Go 1.20 release when I commented that they took the .unwrap and .clone functions and put them into the Go programming language. And if you've ever written Rust before, you are certainly familiar with .unwrap and .clone. Now, it could be possible that the Go programming language also implemented some open telemetry, also known as OTel, style work directly into the Go standard library. which is, in my opinion, a great feature and in absolutely no way jeopardizes anybody's privacy whatsoever. This would be the equivalent of saying the Go programming language now has a transparent debugger, and that whatever functions you execute are stored in a cache in memory, and we can shut them out later if we need to if your program crashes. That's about the extent of how invasive something like a telemetry style feature would be to a programming language. My suspicion here is this has been way blown out of proportion and is being pitched and framed as a privacy concern just to make Google look bad. That's my suspicion. Let's read on and see if my suspicion is correct. So much for the voices muted, sorry. No, I was just, what I was saying was, I was right. There was a GitHub issue, and it is completely and totally exactly what you think it would be. And I was just saying, this is why I admire Russ. You know, like anytime you're in a position like this where you have to put these things out here, and you know, no matter what he said, whether he believed in it or didn't believe in it, or his work is making him do it, or he actually wants to do it, or maybe he hates it, but he has to do it anyway, no matter what, he's gonna get criticized, no matter what, right? So the fact that, like, and he could literally come out here and be like, we're never changing the Go programming language ever again. And people would be like, fuck you, you're stupid. And then he would come in and be like, we're gonna just give up on Go and rebuild the whole thing from scratch, and it's gonna look and feel exactly like Rust. And people would be like, that's wrong, you're dumb. And he would be like, we're gonna make one small change, and people are like, you're dumb. And he's gonna be like, we're gonna make a big change, and they're gonna be like, you're also dumb. And so it doesn't matter what this guy does, the community is gonna be critical of him, because like it's a community of like grown teenage men who with opinions, and this is what they do. Welcome to the internet. And so I believe turning OpenTelemetry on by default is, I mean, I don't know all of the implementation detail here, but for the most part seems fine. If there's some sort of like performance impact or something, like maybe that's a concern, or maybe they're like logging some HTTP like networking stuff that could theoretically be considered like deep packet inspection or like layer 7 inspection. I don't know. Maybe. And maybe that's what's going on here if we dig a little deeper, is like there's actually some, you know what I want to read? Let's see. Transparent telemetry has the following key properties. Let's just read these and figure it out so I can actually form I'm going to form an opinion. God damn it. Okay. The decisions about what metrics to collect are made in open public process. Okay. The collection's configuration is automatically generated from the actively tracked metrics. No data is collected that isn't needed for the metrics. Okay, that's pretty good. The collection config is served to use as a tamper-evident transparent log, making it very difficult to serve different collection configs to different systems. The collection configuration is cacheable. Proxy Go module. Go proxy already used for ordinary modules. IP addresses exposed by the HTTP session that uploads the report are not recorded with the reports. Uploaded reports do not include user IDs, machine IDs, or any other kind of ID. Thanks to sampling, only a constant number of uploaded reports are needed to achieve a specific accuracy target. No matter how many installations exist, are needed for 1% accurate and 99 percentile. This means that as new systems are added to the system, each system reports less often, with a conservative estimate of 2 million. The aggregate computed metrics are made public in graphical and tabular form. The full. Okay, so here's the question. Here's the question, which will help Go project developers and users alike. To be clear, I'm suggesting that the information be added to the Go command line tools written and distributed by the Go team, such as the Go command and the Go compiler. I'm not suggesting that implementation be added to by the Go compiler to all Go programs in the world. That's clearly inappropriate. Okay, that's the important part, what I have highlighted there. Okay, so let me summarize. Basically, whenever you run Go, so if I, like what Russ is suggesting is if I was to go run Go, let's go see. If I was to go run, you know, that command, and I was to like, you know, go build something, right? This change that Russ is suggesting would push metrics and telemetry metrics about what I'm doing, what I'm building, etc., to a centralized open telemetry provider. I am under the impression from reading this that there would actually be a centralized service, similar to like the Go dependency graph project. Have y'all seen this? It's called like Go... Google put it together. Docs.github. It's like go.dev or something. The Go proxy by Google. No, I don't think it's Go proxy. Package.go.dev. No, but it is something like that. So is it like Google dependency service? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I want to find this now. Hold on. Let's see. It's the Google GitHub dependency graph. And then how do I must include Google and not include GitHub? Import lab. It's like something.dev. Is it the Go proxy by Google? I don't think this is it. Thank you for the follow. Some.golang. No, it's like a... Deps.dev. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. Found it. Okay. Powered by Google Cloud. This is the thing. I knew it was something.dev. Okay. So where were we? We can close this. We can close this. Telemetry and Go. So from reading Russ's proposal here, it feels like it's going to be another one of these, where there's going to be some website you go to, and you can just look at the landscape of the Go tool and just see the state of the system globally, the global system, publicly available, like a public service, right? Similar to how, like, if we go to, like, join Mastodon. Oh, interesting. And there's like the servers here. imagine if these server metrics were like more inclusive, right? Like if it had like, you know, user count and active posts and like, you know, trending hashtags and like all the stuff that like you and I see, and it was like a centralized view of the world. That is what this post leads me to believe. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. And what Rust is saying here is, I am not suggesting that instrumentation be added by the Go compiler to all Go programs in the world. So to be clear, if I was to type go build, you know, thing, and that was to create a binary called thing, right? This would report, and this would not report. Okay, so like he's not suggesting that he like put shit in our code. He's just suggesting that like when somebody uses Go, which is a project by Google, it reports. And if I was to go all the way back and rewind all the way back to the top of our little mental stack we have collectively here, and go back to our article that kicked off this whole discussion, I bet people are pissed off and trying to say Google wants to spy on people. Let's read on. These alarmed developers would prefer to opt in rather than opt out regime. So we see this in Mastodon a lot. We see this all the time. In fact, if you talk to Q, every fucking time something like this comes up, she's just like, it's always opt in. If there's any opting, if there's any assumptions, it's always opt in. Always. Your system should be boring and dumb and do nothing, and you can opt into things. Okay. So let's read on more context. See, this is Google agrees to 40 million settlement and privacy lawsuit. The first step to data privacy is admitting you have a problem at Google. They're turning this into a privacy thing. This isn't a privacy reputation. I mean, like, yes, I understand Google is perfect, and I understand they have made some horrible fucking decisions. Every corporation has. That's the nature of capitalism. But like, yeah. This is fascinating to me. This is fascinating that this was turned into this is FUD. This is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's all this is. Terrible article. -5. Careless error. Forgot to put name on paper. -5. Back of the class. And very different from being tracked by Google Analytics. Exactly. I don't understand why compiling code should ever involve my nick. Shout out to Alda Lisa for that. Not only should it never involve your nick, but it more specifically should never involve DNS. At the bottom of the GitHub post, you have a detailed link. Didn't fully follow, but why do you need central analytics to the Go tool chain? I mean, I think that's what they want to talk about. So like, to give you some context, if you've been following the Go project for the past few years, one of the things is like, they're very big on like experience reports. So like, to give you some context, who remembers Go Dep? Do y'all remember this thing Go Dep here? This is a project I worked on a couple of years ago. And this was designed to basically be like a dependency manager for Go. And there was some graph theory, and we, would walk a dependency graph, and we would like read the Go code and interpolate it at runtime. And like, this was, kind of the predecessor to Go modules. Well, one of the things that happened was like, Russ and the Go team pretty much like saw this work that was done by this guy Sam and Carolyn, who works with me at Microsoft, and there was a lot of good people who worked on this, right? None of us worked at Google. Jesse didn't work at Google at the time. I certainly didn't work at Google. Russ didn't, or sorry, Sam didn't, Carolyn didn't, she was at Microsoft with me, etc., etc. And we like put this thing together, and the community started to use it. And then out of nowhere, Russ comes out and is like, oh, we're using modules, and thank you for your experience report. And this has now since been public archived, and this is abandonware. And yes, I understand this code wasn't perfect. I didn't write most of the code. And even if I did, I still would probably say the same thing. This kind of pattern of like the community building stuff and then going in and like, you know, doing their own thing was very common. And so this whole like, we need experience reports and we want to like measure the state of the world before we make any decisions is it's a good call to make. I mean, I would do the same thing, to be honest, but like it pissed people off. You know, that was a consequence of it. And like, I think it was an unintended consequence. So I have a ton of empathy for the situation. But yeah, like, I just think that's kind of how things played out. And so anyway, I think that one of the reasons this open telemetry thing is like a little bit like, what the fuck, is because like, in my opinion, the Go team probably just wants to understand what people are doing every day. That's it. So they can build better tools. And it's probably pretty straightforward. And, you know, the fact that Google, the corporation, has like gone from Google is something everybody trusts and, you know, don't be evil and blah, 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 to like, Google's a privacy monster, right? Like, it's not the Go team's fault. And they're probably just like at the mercy of the situation. So like, you know, they probably just want to write better tools, if I had to guess. Probably very innocent intentions. But thus is the nature of scale. They didn't ask you about GoDep before making GoMod? Not that I was aware of. I mean, not like the type of like, let's get everybody together and go through everything. That was never brought to my attention. Maybe the people who were more prominent in the project knew about it, but I was certainly never invited to like a, you know, big, what have y'all been working on and what do you think about it? What are your takeaways style meeting or anything. I'm sure they were aware of it. Yeah, I mean, I think it was very obvious they were aware of it. I think they even commented on it a few times, but I don't think there was ever like hey, can you all put together like a list of your findings and let's talk about it? Maybe there was, maybe I missed it. I don't know. I was very young and that was a different world back then. Okay. So let's keep going. So Google's Go may add telemetry. Want to delete your Twitter DMs? Good luck with that. Participation in the Fediverse. Twitter, one of the last online spaces for friendly sex workers, was just banned by its network. Oh, wow. Oh no, ChatGPT AI has been jailbroken to be more reckless. That's pretty cool. So there's some good news articles here. If y'all want to go read the rest of those, feel free. I'm going to move on to some of our next topics here. We were going to glance at hacker news and see what we get. So hacker news from the bottom up. Junkyard computing. Treasure trove of mechanical animations. My 5th year as a bootstrapped founder. This is actually a great article. So this is this guy who did Tiny Pilot. I think this is the Tiny Pilot guy. Let's see. Yeah. So I read this the other day. This is a great article. If y'all want to come read a great article, come read this one. Especially if you're interested in starting a corporation or just want to get some insight into like how some of this stuff is done. In my opinion, this is likely the best to date alternative to venture capitalism I've seen anywhere in the history of forever in the tech industry. This is, you know, within the last decade, you know, even post-COVID, this captures the best write-up, the most useful. This is the best resource on the market today. And so this person had worked at Google, right? So let's see, 5 years ago, I quit my job as a developer at Google. Okay. And he created his own bootstrap software company. Okay. The first few years, all the business flopped. None of them earned more than a few $100s per month in revenue, and they all had negative profits. So of the things that he created, one of them stood out called Tiny Pilot. And Tiny Pilot is like this really cool, like it's this softwareless way for you to like remote into a machine. Okay, and here's, you know, videos of him talking about how it works, and it's like a little Raspberry Pi, something or other, and you like put it on the network and it gives you like an opportunity to basically like move into a network securely. Okay, this was one of the things he worked on, and this is the one that started to sell. And so you can see he's like put all these updates together, and you can see his revenue, and there's graphs, and you can see like how much sales he made in 2021 versus 2022 and how it went up. And this is all due to Tiny Pilot. And he's got like a team of like 2 people, and he's profitable. And look at this. This is my favorite line. Look at this right here. Net profit. Look at that. He made $5,000. And that's not like he got $5,000 sent to his bank account. That's like, at the end of the day, this dude fucking created fucking money from thin air. That is the secret to capitalism. No matter if you agree with it, you disagree with it, you like it, you hate it, you're in it no matter what. That right there is the secret to fucking capitalism. Inventing money. And he did it. And if you can build a machine, that scales linearly, where like if he was to take this column here and just basically say like, if I had another $100,000, this 5 turns into a 6, and if I had $1 million, this 5 turns into a 50, and if I had, and you know, if it goes up, right? That is what every investor fucking dreams of. That is the tippy top, creme de la creme, picture perfect business model. And this guy fucking crushed it. Didn't borrow a dime in venture capitalism money. Isn't that cool? I love that stuff. I could read that all day long. Gentoo Linux 2022 retro perspective. The antidote to envy. Open source seeds loosen big ag's grip on farmers. So this is a good one. Who here is familiar with the farming and agriculture industry, or more importantly, Monsanto and genetically modified organisms? Have we all seen the documentaries on this and the problems and problems with IP law and lawsuits and farmer harassment that we see in the different parts of the country? This is a huge concern for modern day American farmers. Yeah. And this is less of a concern in other countries. America has this fucking obsession with ownership. I don't know if y'all have noticed this or not, but like we kind of like, you know, hyper fixated on this concept of ownership. We want to own land. We used to try to own people. We want to own cars. We want to own imaginary ideas called intellectual property. Like we just love owning things. And you know, can you blame us? We're a bunch of white colonists who fucking came over from a country where you weren't allowed to own anything because of the monarch. And well, anyway, it's this whole fucking experiment has gotten blown way the fuck out of proportion. Anyway, so now it doesn't matter what side you're on, you're getting fucked by fucking capitalism at this point. And so anyway, these seeds are a huge problem. So the basics of the problem here is when you talk about genetically modified organisms, you talk about, in your mind, you're like some fucking like crazy dude sits down in a lab with all of these like beakers and scales and, you know, science, and they're all in white lab coats and goggles, and they're, you know, doing their like evil experimentations to like give us this poisonous food, right? That's not what it means. Genetically modified means it's a way of basically saying picked out. Okay, so like a good example of this is the white Peking duck. Who here has ever seen a white duck before? Like, put your show of hands. I love white ducks. They're my favorite ducks. They're so cute, and they're a little yellow fuzzy when they're born. The white Peking duck is a genetically modified organism. Why do I say that? Because it's taken about 1,000 years in China for people to continue to like breed the white ducks year after year after year, generation after generation after generation. And if it wasn't for this natural or unnatural selection, the white duck would not exist as we know it today. Okay, corn, another great example. People have selected the pieces of corn that are like, you know, large, you know, it has the juice, right? Like it's delicious, it's got all this energy, it's got high calories, it grows well, it doesn't need much water, etc., etc., etc. And that is also considered a genetically modified organism because those genetics would not exist if it wasn't for us modifying natural selection. This is called agriculture. Like, in theory, everything in agriculture is genetically modified because, like, agriculture within itself is picking things that grow and trying to deliberately plant them and grow them in certain ways. So, like, not all genetically modified things necessarily mean, like, it's been tampered with and somebody, like, reassembled the fucking DNA Jurassic Park style. It just means they picked the more delicious corn, okay? And there's a ton of research out here on this. So, like, again, don't let this stuff scare you. So, like, another good example of this is broccoli. Do y'all know the broccoli plant? Are y'all familiar with broccoli? So, look at this. Broccoli plant. So, if you look at this, it's the Wikipedia page for broccoli. This thing. This is the plant here. It's called the Brassica oleracea. So the broccoli plant is one plant, and that's its, like, official scientific name, but it's like 30 different vegetables. Okay, so, like, if you've seen this plant before, this is the plant. It's called the Brassica oleracea, and it can be Brussels sprouts and cabbage and kale and kohlrabi and cauliflower and broccoli. It's all the same plant. And different plants are grown for different things, and different parts have different roots, and et cetera, and you can see that this is all just one fucking plant, right? It's all the same plant. So broccoli is genetically modified because we've grown it where the flowers look like broccoli and they're delicious. But we've also, like, grown it where the leaves are just kale. So kale and broccoli are the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking plant. Okay, so when we genetically modify stuff, it just means we pick parts of the plant that we like. Okay, now with that being said, let's go back to our thing here on ag. We have genetically modified seeds. Now, did somebody put some secret recipe and modify the DNA into these seeds? No, it just means we picked the seeds that grew the best for whatever reason, whether they grow better in arid conditions, or they grow bigger plants, or they do this, or they do that. It doesn't really matter. The point is we've, like, over time fixated on which seeds we like the most. Here's the problem. Corporations like Monsanto have applied ownership to the concept of seeds. This is literally the exact same problem we have in open source. We have these, like, nebulous ideas like Kubernetes, and if you don't give them to a good legal body to protect the IP, inevitably some capitalist corporation is going to come try to patent the thing and trademark the thing and copyright the thing and then sue everybody who uses it. And that's what happens when you try to own all of these things. So that's why giving ownership away to, like, a nonprofit or, like, making it public domain can be really important, because it can actually just make the world work better, like, at large. Okay, especially with things like seeds and plants. These are just kind of like things that, like, really, do we really need to fucking rub capitalism on fucking plants? Like, come on, you guys, like, just stop. Just fucking let us feed people. Stop being fucking assholes, right? So anyway, there's this whole open source, I love this, what I'm about to say. There's a whole open source effort to, like, fucking get rid of this whole, like, private IP'd seed problem that corporations like Monsanto have created. And that's what we're reading about now. Open source seeds loosen big ag's grip on farmers. Oh, so another thing I should say is, like, this whole thing is horrible because all of these large corporations with billions of dollars are suing all of these farmers, like small town farmers who've, you know, been farming the land for generations. One of these seeds will blow onto their land, or end up on their land, or they'll buy it from the local feed store, not realizing that it's illegal for them to plant it without, like, paying their fucking licensing fees. And then, like, the corporation shows up and fucking sues the farmers. So now farmers are in economic slavery like everybody else in the country. And it's like, come on. The farmers were supposed to be on the right side. Right? Like, it's like, God damn it. Capitalism, this is why we can't have nice things. So anyway, so when Jack Kloppenberg looks out over his sprawling vegetables garden in rural Wisconsin. He sees half a dozen arm-thick green striped squash called Candy Stick Desert Delicata. When you drive past big fields of corn, you see seed owners and a little sign a lot of the time. That's right. Most people have heard of open source software. I love this article already. Maybe also open source beer or open source pharmaceutical research. The principle is the same. Someone developed the seeds and open sourced the seeds. Okay. Just like software development has been co-opted by a few global companies like Microsoft and Apple, the international seed development trade too is controlled by a few giants like Monsanto, DuPont, and Syngenta. I fucking love this article, you guys. This article is great. 2012 Oxfam study found that 4 companies dominate more than 60% of global trade with grains. But when we buy cereal or bread, if you pay attention to the fact that most grains are protected or even fucking patented. So I was literally at the US Patent Office yesterday. Like, don't get me started on IP law. I can like talk about this for days. Most farmers don't own the seeds that they sow in their fields. Think about that for a second. Think about that. Replace seeds in a field with your equivalent for whatever you do in your life. Right? We've all heard the expression like you reap what you sow. So we can apply this concept of farming and like, investing into like land in like the hopes of like reaping a reward. Like farming is like a great analogy for like just, financial investment in general. You go work hard at something, you hope you do a good job, and if it pays off in the spring, you get your big payday. Right? And that's pretty much like what we all do every day at work. So anyway, like now imagine, if you're a baker or a software engineer or a firefighter or an investment banker or you work in the hospital or, whatever. Imagine if the thing that you used every day, so like for me, it would be my computers. Okay. Imagine if I couldn't actually own my computers and that like if I wrote a line of code, that there was this little small legal agreement that was like, well, Nova wrote it on her Dell x86. So now Dell owns all the code she writes. Fucked. You can't get out of it, right? Now, or imagine you're at a hospital and you're trying to get your paycheck and you're like, oh, well. Sorry, surgeon, you picked up the scalpel that was invented by this corporation, and every person you touch with the scalpel, you have to pay us $100,000 because you're using our scalpel. It's welcome to private ownership, am I right? So anyway, fascinating to see that people are finally wising up and applying open source to this problem that we have. They aren't renting them. Kloppenberg, professor emeritus in the University of Wisconsin. Kloppenberg and a half dozen like-minded ag expert founded OC, an alternative to the monopolies. OC's aim is the free flow and exchange of genetic resources of plant breeding in a variety of development. This is fucking cool. This is the first open source fucking farmer. This is Nivenly for farmers. The movement faces an uphill battle, particularly in the US, where most farmers plant seeds that are patented by big corporations. Still, about 50 seed breeders have already signed with OC in the US to nearly offer 500 seed varieties. This, in my opinion, this conversation on our food, getting our food out of the hands of the capitalists, that is one of the most important conversations we could be having today, to this fucking day. Sincerely, I I put that on par with like the global warming conversation. That is one of the most important conversations we could be having. I don't know why these things at the bottom keep getting fucked up, but they do. I think it's every time I move one, the other one like also moves, I think. Let's see. No, that one's still there. There we go. Anyway, I digress. Putting it back in the vault like Disney. We believe that the ecological plant breeding has to go beyond developing increasing profitability cash crops. And here's a picture of the seeds. Fascinating. Adaptive seeds. Pacific Northwest grown. Of course, this is coming out of the Pacific Northwest. That makes me so happy. I want to move back to the Pacific Northwest. I loved it up there. It was so cool. This makes me so happy. Bringing biodiversity back to farming. Awesome article. Great article. Great article. Go Funked, a stricter Go Funked. I think we're good on Go. I don't want to talk about any more Go today. DeepMind AI is fast as humans at solving previously unseen tasks. Tips for our healthier Postgres database. Fascinating. So the blog is here, and I don't want to get in a big discussion on, you know, capitalism, yes or no, because that's not the right conversation to be having. That's not the right conversation to be having is not yes capitalism, no capitalism. The right conversation to be having is how do we make capitalism better? The right conversation to be having is how do we regulate it in a way that doesn't promote economic slavery? The right conversation to be having is how do we operate capitalism in a way that doesn't create a false scarcity? How do we operate capitalism in a way that doesn't destroy our planet? How do we operate capitalism in a way that doesn't murder people because of the color of their skin? That's the conversation to be having. Fuck off with this whole like absolutism bullshit. I ain't got time. End rant. I'm Chris Nova. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right, so we're gonna finish our news peruse today with the Activity Pub conference that was linked very early in the chat. Does anybody have a link to that? It looks like my back scroll has missed it. Maybe I can get it here in my local bot. Let's see. Let's see if we can't figure it out. I think it's out of my back scroll. I cannot get it. An actual virus like the GPL. The GPL is, yeah, fascinating. Anyway, we were going to look at the Activity Pub conference. If anybody can find a link, I'm happy to pull it up. I lost the link, so I can't pull it up. If you want to share it, you can. In the meantime, we're going to get into the rest for today. Okay, so let's take a look. So we're gonna go here to the Aura runtime project. Who here knows what Aura is? Do I need to give like an intro on the Aura runtime project, or is everybody here pretty well versed with this at this point? Intro would be nice. Cool. So we have a command. Was it this one? Chris Nova. Awesome. Thanks, Boogie. Yes, it was. So let's give a quick intro on Aura first, and then we'll look at the other one. We will give an intro on Aura, and I'll share some resources, and you can read why we look through the the Decent Social link that was just shared. So the Aura runtime project, the best resources are probably just to go to the GitHub page. So we definitely do have like a command you can run, but I would encourage you just to start here. So the Aura runtime project, think of it like it's a software project. that is designed to run on a piece of hardware like one of the ones I have back here. And the whole point of it is to be a lightweight single process manager for all things on your hardware. Okay, so Aurae is on a mission to be the most loved and effective way of managing workloads on a node. Our hope is that by bringing a better set of controls to a node, we can unlock brilliant higher order distributed systems in the future. So when I think of a node in a distributed system, I think of things like infrastructure management. I think of things like configuring the network. I think of things like systemd. I think of things like host level security daemons. I think of syslog. I think of device drivers. I think of kernel modules. I think of runtime projects like Docker or Containerd. I think of things like how do we connect a node to the rest of the system. So there's tools like Elasticsearch that have like node agents. There are protocols like multicast that allow nodes to like communicate with each other. There's protocols like Gossip. There's consensus algorithms that go into play. There's quorum problems that go into play. There's scheduling problems, orchestration problems. These are all there's minutia in each of these words that like mean different things. And Aurae is a small, lightweight project that basically just says, we'll run whatever workloads you want. And we'll do it on the hardware, and we'll give you the very easy, safe controls to network a single Aurae node up to other Aurae nodes. So you can build a network to do whatever you want. Literally whatever. If it can run like on Linux, it can run in Aurae. And it's a means to an end for simplifying the distributed runtime conversation. So there you go. And while you look at that, if you scroll down, if you're one of those people who learn by videos, so I fucking hate watching videos to learn things. Nothing in this world bothers me more than like, I need to learn how to like poach an egg, or how to like, access my car without a car key, or, like whatever. And then like the only resource is like this like 15-minute long YouTube video of like some dude who's like and subscribe. Like, fuck that. I hate that. So anyway, if you are one of the people who wants to learn by video, there's a video in the README that I just put together last week, and you can go watch it, and it goes through, why the project exists, where it came from, what we hope to solve, the components of the project, what they do, why they are the way they are, etc., etc. So you can go watch the video there. Let's look at Decent Social. First comment, I love it, based on nothing off more than the fact that it's like 8-bit, like graphics. I absolutely love that. So let's see, welcome, join the conference. Decent Social is using meet.coop. So I really like the meet.coop guys, or gals, or people. And the reason for that is because they're doing similar things to like what we want to do with Hackaderm. So already I love this. Decent Social is using meet.coop to run our virtual unconference in order to ensure we have enough space for our conversations. We've created 26 different rooms on our video hosting infrastructure so you can have unconference conversations. This is fascinating. Room A is reserved for the opening, closing, and hallway track, etc., etc. And you can see that it's totally like an unconference style thing. And it looks like this is February 10th, which was yesterday. And you can see there's like links here, although I'm not sure what like session 1 is, but anyway, this looks fascinating. There's like some graphs, and you can see opinion groups. People go and vote on things, and there's groups of opinions. Fascinating. I think this is a great idea, and I love seeing things like this pop up. I hope to see more of this type of stuff in the future. Unconference equals non-live. I think so. I think that's what unconference means. To be honest, I don't really, the prefix un Like there's like undistro and unconference and like unmeetup. I just think that it's just a marketing gimmick. I don't actually know if it means anything, because even if it's not a live conference, if it's just recordings, there's regular conferences that do that. So I don't know. I think it's just a way of being like, it's different. It's like remember when we had mail and then we had email and we had the phone and we had the iPhone and we had a fax and then we had the e-fax. I think this is just, we had a conference and now we have the unconference, and it's just like, it's just a way of making some distinction, and it can kind of just mean whatever you want. I-conference. Unconference means that the agenda is set at the event by vote. There you go. So it's a voting conference. It's a voting conference. So you can propose and get it voted in. Got it. Oh, so this is like the unagenda thing that we do at some of the open source meetups. Which is good. Okay. So anyway, hopefully this explains what we're working on in Aura. So I'm going to look at some of our pull requests, and then we're going to get into Rust. I hope this works for everyone. Okay, and I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee, and then we are going to get into the Rust right when I get back. I know it's been a long intro to get here, but we're gonna just take a quick breather before we really get into the code for the morning. So I will be back in just a few minutes. And we're back. Cool. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. So let's get a few things merged in. So we have some big decisions to make. So one of the big decisions we need to make, and I'm going to merge a bunch of stuff in, and then I'm going to go work on my code. So we have some crates we need to publish. I've already reserved one, which is just the Aura crate in general. The problem is that so basically here's the situation. So if you look here in the Aura repo, oh my god, if I could type, there we go. We have these directories that are prefixed with the name Aura, right? So we have Aura client, we have Aura proto, etc. Basically this PR is going to remove that part of the directory name. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're like, that seems fine. We should go and do that. And the counter argument is, we'll never push a crate called proto to crates.io. Right? Think about it. There's no way we're going to have the only proto, and there's no way we want the only proto. So giving it a name, unfortunately, makes a lot of sense. The problem with that is we've have two really great pull requests get opened up. That do the thing that I told people to do, which is basically remove the Aura prefix. So here's one that DMA did. And let me turn off the, there we go. That should make it a little easier to read. So DMA basically came in and removes Aura proto here. So I would basically reject this PR. By removing the prefix. Future says, currently weekly holding the opinion that we shouldn't make the change. Proto is not the main API, that's in the API. But if we were to ever establish Aura proto or in client as crates, we'd want the prefix in there. I assume we can publish a crate called Aura foo from a directory called foo, but I don't know for sure. By convention, the crate name would match the directory name, but I don't believe that is a technical requirement at any point, including publishing a crate. I think it's okay to rename if that is the preference. Does it change the crate name? So no. So in theory, we could have a directory called foo and push Aura foo as a crate name. I know this for a fact because I just published my first crate the other day. And if you, for example, look at the auradcargo.toml, this is the file that crates.io looks at. This is the only file that they look at. They don't look at the directory name, they look at this. So whatever name you put here that's the crates.io. It's that name. And that's how Rust looks at it as well, right? So it all matches. It's all matchy-matchy. The Rust compiler uses this field. Crates.io uses this field. And all of your documentation and auto-generating crates docs use this field. It also uses edition and authors and license. All of this stuff here is what propagates to, like, if we were to do like crates.io, crates Aura here, you can see here it's got like a readme. This, I mean, you push the readme, like it's like a get repo, but all of this stuff over here, the version and the Apache 2, the metadata, all of this stuff, this all comes from the name, the version, this distributed systems runtime comes from there's a description field under package. Okay, so we could have, you know, if we go, like, for example, if we go to Aura Proto, right? Basically, this package would be called Aura Proto, and we would need to add a description here, and then we could just have the directory called Proto, and it would be somewhat matchy-matchy. So that's the decision we need to make. Do we care enough about these directories to have them named what they're named, or do we care about making the code pretty more? Do you agree it's a first-hand issue, ignoring that your project is called Aura, so you don't need to repeat the name, and so it's quite generic? Yeah, I think it is. That's the name in cargo.toml, yeah. So I think the problem here is it's totally preference, it's totally convention, it's totally like what we want to do. Personally, it kind of just irks me that the name of the directory inside of the Aura project is prefaced with Aura. That just feels weird to me. I just don't like that. So this PR would basically rename Proto to Proto. What would be least surprising to someone coming in? So that's a good question. And it would depend on how you approach the project, right? If you're coming in from crates.io/Aura, right? If you're coming in from here, you're going to want to see a crate called Aura. And maybe we just like have like nested crates or something. I don't really know. You know, maybe we actually make Aura Proto the Aura crate or something in the future. I think we just rename them and we figure out how to publish when we do our release. I also think that, like, if you look at the pull requests, so DMA did this one, but we're tugging at my heartstrings here. There is another PR. Maybe it's already been merged. I thought there was a client PR. Let me see if it's been merged. Hold on. Here, this one. Okay, so this one was already merged. Who merged this? Let's see. So DMA merged this 11 hours ago after I went to bed. So this one is from a new person. I'm glad this got merged, actually. So this is the one that renames client. So client is now called client. I'm gonna merge this one. I'm making a decision. Doesn't make sense from your IDE POW, your OS, because it's already embedded in the name. Sure. Cool. So future highway approve these changes. So DMA says ready to merge. Cool. I'll merge it first, and I will say, looked at this on the stream, and I think we are okay with having packages named Aura Foo, or sorry, packages named Foo that are published to crates.io as Aura Foo. Say, additionally, we now have control of, and we'll say crates.io /crates/Aura. Which maybe is where we want to publish crates such as the client. I am wondering under what conditions a developer would try, and then we'll say bash, and we'll say cargo add Aura. And I think maybe that is, I think maybe the expectation is to get the rest coming. Although we can make that decision later. Hope this helps explain by reasoning. Basically, I am convinced we will likely be renaming and mapping these directories to other crate names and maybe even repos in the future. Cool. Okay. So that one's merged. I also think, so these are not ready. Introduce cache for pod sandbox. I want to merge this because I want to iterate on this. Let's see where DMA is. Let me ask DMA if I can merge his code. Although I don't want to merge his code and take it over. Is the problem. Let me do this. Let's get this. Okay, sorry. We don't have merge queues here. So first things first, let's merge the VM service. I think other folks have approved this one. Approve and, oh, sorry. And let me grab. Why can I not resolve conflicts? So why does it want me to check it out? Why can I use this thing? Interesting. Okay, so I can't merge the VM branch. And I can't merge the cache. I want both of these in here. I want to iterate on this. Isn't it because some checks are running? I guess. So this is pod cache. So I really think all we have to do is just add main. That's it. That's the only problem here. Oh, that was easy. And then we added, which was our... It was standard path, right? Yeah. So I bet if we grep, we can find path. There it is. Path or a new bundle path. There it is. Okay, so this is mark as resolved. Commit merge. And then you think says so much easier than kdiv. Yes, yes. I do like GitHub. I do like it. VM service. Just edit the bloody file. I hear you. So, like, here's the thing is, like, why is it trying to fucking build it if it's conflicted? And, like, do I really want to check out this guy's, I don't know if it's a guy, I'm assuming it's a guy. This guy's branch. Nova Pants, you're pretty cute, you know? I'm having a great lurk, and thanks, Faf. Thank you. What do we want to do? You know what? I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. YOLO. Alright, get remote. Get remote. Add. What's this person's name? We'll say Jan. And then we will do this. Get checkout. rename it to their actual name. And so this is saying check out this from main. We don't want the main part, we just want that. And then we'll pull it. Cool. All right, so let's Emacs Aurae D, it was lib.rs there. And we believe there's a conflict in our use statements. Bro, there's no conflict here. So git branch, git pull origin main, rebase, git status. Okay, git reset hard. Conflict. No! What the fuck? What in the actual fuck? Oh, it's an Aurae proto. That's why. Is it because I just renamed this? Emacs Aurae proto source librs. Ah, I see. It's because there's a proto now, that's why. Let's try to make Aurae D and see what we get. I think the website doesn't resolve file deletions. I think you're right. Also because I think the directory is still there. If only we knew somebody who could help us fix this problem. Who do we know that works at GitHub? Okay, cool. So this is in VM service. Git doesn't track empty directories. Nope. But your girl Nova Pants over here loves to put these little git keep files in all of her empty directories so that it does. Okay, so this is in Aurae D source virtual machines. Let's see. Why is my sea lion all fucked? I love the sea lion text editor. Because bro, why are you? Looks like we're elliptically fixed around an axis. There it goes. Okay, so the reason I like sea lion so much is because it reminds me of sea lioning on the internet. What's the matter? Do you not want to talk about sea lioning? I'm just trying to have a civilized conversation with you about the sea lion text editor. You declared publicly for all to hear that you wanted to have a civil conversation about the sea lion text editor. Are you not capable of having a civil conversation on the sea lion text editor? Y'all feel me? I know you feel me. I know you do. Every trans girl who's watching this right now is just going like this. I have the actual cartoon graphic beyond that. Nice. Okay, so we're in Aurae D source virtual machines. So my only gripe here Well, let's get it working first. And then we're going to rename it from virtual machines to VMs. Let's make sure it builds. Make sure it builds. Mm-hmm. See, this is an example here. Or eBPF shared is the name of the package. It's in the eBPF shared directory. I'm okay with that. Okay, so this compiles. Fixing proto dependency from, where did we proto, or a proto, here we go, 372. 372. Origin. Nope. Git push. That. Permission denied. I can't push to this guy's repo. That would also explain why I can't I can't resolve the conflict. Oh, it's just called VM service. That's why. Git push. So git remote v. Git push. Jan Oski. So it's Aura. Git branch. There we go. Git checkout v VM service. There we go. Can I force push this guy's branch? Let's see. Hey, I did. I force pushed to his branch. Cool. Kind of scary, but also cool. I've always wondered why this does have to be so complex. Cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna rename virtual machines. So let's make Aura D and make sure that we don't have anything in here that's like needs the Aura proto directory that I just totally destroyed, which I think is fine. So hopefully that compiles. Hopefully that compiles. So then we want to rename our virtual machine to VM. Okay. So cells is called cells proto. So I think what we want to do is we just want to rename this as VMs, as just VMS. So instead of the word cells, we're going to have VMS. So we will refactor, we will rename this as VMS. We will refactor and we will rename as VMS. Then we will do a big find and replace for virtual machines. And let's find all the places where we want to do it. So we will replace that one. Make file. Okay. Go package. Okay. Okay. We're not going to touch any of the index.e dot this stuff. Aurae, that's all, whatever. Okay, we're done. That should do it. Let's just Purple Elf is raiding with a party of 42. That is a great number for a raid from Purple Elf. So let's give our good friend Purple Elf a shout out. What's up, Purple Elf? How are you? How was your show? How was your stream? Tell us everything. What have you been doing? Hopefully it's been going well. Purple Elf says hello, and Mustafa Sakil Jumla says hello, and Purple Elf says, how are you? I'm fucking great. Another day, another dollar. We're just chilling. We're just chilling. We're just hanging out, enjoying our Saturday. Drinking coffee, working on Rust. We're currently renaming virtual machines to VMs and discovering all of the wonderful, scary things we can do with Git and people's repos when they're contributing to our project. So yeah, it's just been cool. We've been hanging out, and that's what we got going on. Purple Elf says we love Rust. I also love Rust. Thank you for the follow, everyone. I appreciate it. Funny that you have a comment for start new VM on top of start VM whatever, but other cryptic lines don't have comments. I mean, to be fair, it's not like I wrote this service, somebody else did, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Okay, so this looks good. Thank you for the follow. So let's let the compiler yell at us and tell us what we're missing. So mod VMs in Aurae D. Let's go rename that mod in Aurae D and see what we get. Refactor VMs. And unfortunately, this needs to be VM's service, much as I hate to say it. Is it VM's? Okay, well, let's undo that really quick. Let's see what we get here. Oh, Protobuf, are you actually using gRPC or just using the spec? Oh, no. We definitely do gRPC. So let's see, use proto VM. So this is VM service on line 1. Use protos. Proto.vm. Do we need to make the new proto? Yes. So let's do make all and see what we get. Is there an Aurae? I bet it's in the make file, maybe. Proto. Let's grab for virtual machines. Got in here. Let's go look here in Proto. Let's see. Why is it still writing to... There it is, VMs. So let's do this. Let's make it clean really quick. And let's make Aurae D. Yeah, no, we use gRPC in the Aurae project. We run it by default over a Unix domain socket, but you can also expose it over a regular old network socket too if you want. And there we go. This is VM service now. Cell service, okay. So let's go into our Aurae D now. Let's see, use Proto. Why does it still think it's Proto virtual machines is my worry here. And let me try to re-rustify my thing. Sometimes that will help me out. Cool. So let's keep hacking, see what we get. How important is data structures and algorithms when programming in a decent company? Wow, how to answer that question. That question just made my brain just go with thoughts. I mean, I almost want to just break that down word by word. There's so many words there. And all those words mean so many different things to me at this point. PubMod at this day and age. Publish module is too much data and info. We can't afford to store that. Cool. So protosys source librs include. There we go. Sorry. No. You're fine. I don't really know what you're talking about, Magic. Pineapple. What is it? Pineapple's API? Asked a really great question. I do want to answer. But I hope somebody else here can jump in for me. And there it is. And there was our missing link right there. And this should work. This should work now. Let's see. I hope somebody jumps in and explains to our friend Pineapples why I'm not immediately answering the question. I hope that somebody can help me out here. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just doing something offline for just a second. Matic Vower says basically the stream is not an AMA at all times. Topic of the day today is eBPF containers, cache, and Aurae. Yeah. I will do questions here in a second. I just gotta compartmentalize. Let me get this building first. It's a good question though. I just have to do one thing at a time. Okay. There we go. Okay. So there's Aura D, and it's running with the new VM service. So git status, git add, git commit sm, introduce VMs, and rebase on main. Git push VM service. There we go. Okay, cool. Cool. If you are a web developer, you might find it not as important as, say, someone in this job. But short answer, it is important. In my experience, while I tend to think it's important, lots also, but awareness of different types of data structures and algorithms are not necessarily a disadvantage. I will go on a big long rant about this as soon as I get the stuff merging in. When we're waiting for the builds, I'll rant about algorithms, I promise. I'll even get books out and everything. I'll even reference some of my own fucking computer science. The published stuff. I promise. It's like a whole thing. I'll even put on a hat. It'll be a whole thing. It'll be a whole thing. So the answer is, it depends. I'm excited for that, says we will wobble. Okay, so let's make sure that this is pushed. And let's refresh. I find DSA fascinating. The thing is, I'm currently working in AWS, but I would like to move to a software developer field because I have never developed anything myself. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is building. All right, so we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, we're gonna answer the question. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna answer the question when I get back. It was a great question. The question about algorithms and data structures, and we'll talk all about it. We'll do the whole thing. I'll go find a hat. Okay, we'll see everyone in not 4, but 3 minutes. I'll be right back. I'll see everyone in just a second. Okay, we're back. Okay, so while we wait for the builds, we had a really great question. Which was, hey Nova Pants. Let's go read the question again. Oh, where's my hat? God damn it, where's my... This is the first hat I found, so we get a Christmas hat. Okay, cool. So here's where we are. So if you're asking these questions about algorithms, you're asking good questions. This is so exciting. Let's go. You're going to be taught. Okay. So let's go back and let's reread the question. That was a good question. Okay. How important is data structures and algorithms when programming in a decent company? So let's just go over that at a high level really quick. Number one, how important? Okay. In order for me to answer how anything is important, I need to understand your goals. I don't think you actually want to understand how important it is. I think what you want to understand is how useful is the knowledge for whatever your specific goals are. Let me give you some examples. Number one, if you're trying to make more money, the more algorithmy unique things that you know that nobody else knows that are aligned with the business goals, you're gonna make a fuck ton of money. So like if you're after money and that's why you're in this biz, then like, yeah, algorithms can make you some money. That's a really good way to align your goals. How important is it for you to make friends or to enjoy your job? Probably not that important, honestly. So I think it just depends on what your goals are. Okay. Job security, it's medium important. Okay. So how important? I can't really answer that unless I know what you're after. Okay. Number two, data structures. Data structures are useful if you're writing software. You should know. You should understand the basics of data structures, but more importantly, you should be able to form an opinion on which data structure to use where and how to kind of like imagine your own, if that makes sense. In algorithms are, they're useful so I can see how you code, but like I don't really care, honestly. I don't, and I'm a principal engineer. Like I don't really care if you can code, you know, FizzBuzz or any of the like binary tree sorting, left, right, balance this, hash that, FIFO in, LIFO that. Like I don't really care. What I care about is that if you saw a problem, we could come to conclusion together and you understand the nuances of coding. Now, if I hired you to be a software engineer and to like work on big problems, like the kind of things we see at GitHub, and you weren't able to like apply some of the basic type of knowledge here, yeah, it would be a concern. You're probably not the best person for that job. But like there's a lot of other jobs available on the market. And to be completely candid, most of the good software is already written. Okay? Like I just hate to tell people this, but like most of the hard problems are solved. If you go work at a company like Google, if you go work at a company like Amazon, if you go work at a company like Microsoft, most of the hard problems are already solved. Most of them have APIs, and granted the APIs are shitty and they're old and they oftentimes feel counterintuitive and they have a shitty dashboard and they like are impossible to log in and your password gets reset all the time and there's all these like operational problems. But like the underlying algorithm has like, there's been people long before you and I entered this industry who started the work that have been iterated on and improved and refined and optimized and et cetera for 15 plus years. And I promise you, no matter how many books you read and how many PhDs you get and how many people you talk to and how hard you work, you're never going to write it better than what they have today. Full fucking stop. Okay, so that's just like, it's the same reason that like a degree in like concrete structural engineering isn't like super relevant, because like most of the city's concrete is already poured. Like it's not the 20s anymore. We don't need to go like re-level blocks of New York anymore, right? Like that stuff is already done. What we need is we need people who can do specific things with like the limited steel we have available today, right? So there's a big difference between like, you know, being a new software engineer and making improvements to legacy systems. And I hate to tell you, but if you're going to be working at a big company like Amazon or Google or Microsoft or whatever, like you're going to be working on legacy systems. I'm sorry. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about some of the things I would encourage you as a new engineer to learn. So if you are here at the show and most of you commented on it, you probably know this book. CLRS. It's their names. Clifford, Ronald, Charles, and Thomas. Or wait, no, sorry. It's their last name, CLRS. I was like, why didn't that not work out right? It's Corman, Learson, Rifstenstein. And this is called the Introduction to Algorithms, 3rd edition. So this is a very good book because it costs $100. So this book is not very useful to people like you and me. The only time I use this book ever is moments like now on Twitch to tell people that the only reason that this book is good is because it costs $100. So like, what I mean by that is like, this is the modern day encapsulation of everything that we know about algorithms to date. This is a knowledge source you can put on your shelf, and if the human race was obliterated by nuclear warfare and this book survived, this would be the state of the art for our collective knowledge as a species of how to write algorithms. Which is great. I'm glad I have this book. It makes me feel good. I don't ever fucking use this at work. The one page I do have bookmarked here, in my algorithms class, or in my little algorithms book here, is chapter 22, elementary graph algorithms. These are probably the most useful things to know in the whole book. I have that book in PDF format. So if you have the book in PDF, this is roughly on page 600, maybe 580, 590, somewhere in there. And there's all of these like pieces of language here about, you know, this book uses a thing called pseudocode. So you have to like, in order to read this book, you have to like learn what pseudocode is. And then once you learn pseudocode, you have to learn what it means. And it's like this whole fucking thing. It's a lot of work. But like, it is kind of useful, I guess. Anyway, chapter 22, they talk about these things called breadth first search and depth first search and how to analyze paths and how to write a proof. And anyway, this is about the farthest I ever go, ever. Working on search, like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen search before, but like, we have a search problem at GitHub. You know, talking about how we do dependency graphs and infrastructure. I managed, you know, millions of pieces of hardware and millions of instances of software in my lifetime. All of those have graph structures I have to navigate and make decisions about at runtime with software. I do a lot of things, right? Chapter 22 is about as far as I ever go. Now, if I was working on like machine learning, yeah, it'd be a different discussion, right? If I was working on like MapReduce, like, yeah, it'd be a different discussion. But for like the stuff I do, I don't really ever go past chapter 22. Okay. This book is useful to know conceptually. I would say get yourself to a point where you can flip to any chapter in this book. And in 5 minutes or less, you can look at an example, read it, and feel confident that you could explain it to someone from just like glancing over the pages and just refreshing your memory. If you can do that, you're fine. That box is checked, in my opinion. And again, this is just my opinion. But this book is like how to do it very, very detailed. And most college classes will teach you this book. This is the opposite. So that book was the book smarts. This book is the street smarts. Like my book that I wrote, Hacking Capitalism. This is going to tell you how to actually apply it. This book is written for, like, this is, if you've ever learned a language before, like, who here speaks 2 languages or 3 languages or, you know, multiple languages? Unsure if y'all know how to speak different languages or not. I'm suspecting some people do. Multilingual here. Okay. So I'm sure you're aware when you learn multiple languages. I speak Arabic and English. I speak 4. Okay. German and English. Perfect. Okay. So when you're learning another language to speak, there's 2 types of books you can buy on the language. There is like the dictionary that gives you every word, how to conjugate it, examples, definitions, and sometimes those style dictionaries are written for the language you're learning from. So it's very common. You'll see like how to speak German as an American, or like how to speak American from a German. And if you learn, you know, if you grow up in Italy, the English they learn there is actually like a very weird dialect of English that neither myself nor people in UK actually know how to speak, but it's still considered English, right? And so it's very like whatever, but it's very dry and it's just an encyclopedia of information. It's a dictionary, right? This is that for computer science. You can also find books when you're learning to speak other languages that are like conversational. How to listen to the language, how to engage in the language, what it means to speak it, some common words and phrases, some things that you would find no matter where in the country you went. And it's very like practical and it's very hands-on, and it actually teaches you how to like survive in that environment. And like, while it's good to have the dictionary, sometimes the practical advice is actually equally as important, if not more important. So this book is called Cracking the Coding Interview, and this is the practical advice of how to actually like pass a coding interview, and kind of hints at when you actually use the stuff. So in here, you see all of these questions like small database design. And you see like how to walk a graph of multiple nodes, and you learn about data structures and arrays and strings and, you know, for loops, and you learn how to write it in C, and it's like this whole thing. And you learn about, you know, here's an example, you know, string compression. You know, I've done algorithms like this before. I've coded almost none of these at work. Actually, I take that back. Maybe 10 times in my career, I've actually like had like a real exciting computer science problem to solve. I mean, I have one a year, right? And I get the whole company involved, right? Like it's like a whole thing. I was like, oh guys, fuck yeah. We found a computer science problem we get to solve as a company. And like everybody like perks up and they're like, finally, my college degree, I get to use it. And I don't just have to sit on Zoom all day, right? Like it's kind of a thing. I don't want people to think that like, people like myself who are at these big reputable companies writing software every day are like, we sit around and we, you know, whiteboard all day and we like go solve these like internet problems of like, you know, how to do all this crazy stuff over across billions and millions of nodes, and we do this top secret stuff. And like, that's not how it actually works. You're lucky if you get to do one of those in your career. I'm sorry, I'm just saying, most of the shit you're doing is fixing bash scripts. Like, let's be real. Okay, finally, my dog ate my copy of the C programming language, which is like very on brand for me. And not my current dog, my old dog. But this is another good book because this teaches you how to write code for systems. This teaches you how to think about questions and challenges and problems practically. This teaches you how to understand and communicate with other professionals. This is a dictionary or an encyclopedia. This is a pocket guide for you to keep on your desk and carry with you everywhere you go. This is the art. This is the art form. And this will teach you how to think about writing code. And so it's written in C. So like it's complicated because it's written in C. However, this will teach you how to think about communicating with a computer and how to structure human ideas for a computer at a very fundamental level. I encourage everyone, no matter which book you start with or what you do or where you go, I encourage everyone to do one thing, no matter who you are or what language you want to write or what you want to do or whatever. My advice to you, number one, run the Linux operating system. Stop wasting time on Mac. Stop wasting time on Windows. It's a distraction. I know it's easy. I know it's fun. I know it's safe. It's probably having access to a computer is challenging for folks younger in their career. I know. I had a PC when I went to college. I had a MacBook when I went to college. If you can get a Linux operating system up and running and work on it every day, you will write and learn more about the industry just from doing that than you will with literally anything else. 1 week of running on Linux is going to replace 6 months of watching Twitch. I promise you. You have to learn how to be self-sufficient with online resources. You have to learn how to use search engines to solve problems. You have to learn how to try things and form small micro experiments and form hypotheses within yourself and then go test them and debug them and see if your hypothesis was right. And you learn these valuable practical skills that you're not going to learn anywhere else. Fuck Linux. Linux is like a shitty kernel, in my opinion. It's like mediocre at best, but using it will teach you the skills to survive in tech. Okay. So anyway, if I could offer you a second piece of advice, it would be to depend on your own code. So the first one is like, run Linux because it's going to teach you how to be self-sufficient with your tools. The second one is depend on your own code. So I often like to use the analogy of like a workshop. So imagine you're building a workshop. And who here has ever done any blacksmithing before? Does anybody here, do we have any blacksmiths in the studio audience? I'm gonna go put my books on the shelf, but I'm just wondering, does anybody here do any blacksmithing? Faf in a boot is a blacksmith. Of course, Faf is a blacksmith. Blacksmith as in lock-picking lawyer. There you go. I built my own rig. Is that blacksmithing? Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. I want to try woodworking someday. So here is one of the fascinating things about blacksmithing. So if you get a proper anvil, like a nice proper anvil, let's find a good one. This one's not bad. Let's find this one here. We'll say open image and new tab. There we go. If you find a nice proper anvil in your life, these are very hard to come by. And there's a lot of reasons why these are hard to come by. Number one, they're heavy. Number two, think about how you make this. If you were to go build one of these from scratch, how would you build it? Okay. The problem is that most of the tools you need to be a blacksmith require you to have another blacksmith around. It's a recursive trade. Okay. So like building an anvil requires anvils, hammers, tongs, horns, swedges, all of these common things that a blacksmith knows how to use. How do you think this horn got as shiny and polished as it did? How do you think the top got flat? How do you think they heated the iron to pour it into the mold? And how did they build all of that? So, like Fafneboot said, the first thing you build as a blacksmith is a pair of tongs. Once you have a pair of tongs, you can start to forge a hammer. Once you have a hammer, you can make a better pair of tongs. Once you make a better pair of tongs, you can make a better hammer. Once you have one hammer, you can make a second hammer. And then before you know it, you start to build a catalog of tools. But you have to start somewhere. Okay? So when I'm talking to people about Linux, I am actually talking about learning the trade. I don't really care if you use the Linux kernel, or if you like the kernel or the opinions of the kernel maintainers. What I care about is that you start actually using the tools to make other tools. Just like a blacksmith. And so, like, the reason I say run Linux isn't because I actually think Linux is somehow superior as an operating system. It's because it's going to teach you that you are responsible for solving problems. Not your credit card, not a corporation, not the people on the other end of the imaginary fence that you can go and ask for help. There's no help desk in Linux. There's no program to sign up for in Linux. There's no way for you to throw money at the problem. You have to go fix the problem yourself. So anyway, what I'm trying to teach you is that, like, if you want to be a good software engineer, right? In my opinion, the most important thing you need to do is just start refining your trade. Start building things. And they're going to be ugly, and people are going to laugh at you, and people are going to come after you on the internet, and they're going to say things that your code sucks, and they're going to make fun of you on Reddit, and you're going to tell you you're an idiot, and blah, blah, blah. Don't let that stuff get to you. They wouldn't be giving you attention if they weren't intimidated by you. So try to, like, imagine that you need to start actually building things. And the beauty of it is, once you build like your first metaphorical anvil, you can make other anvils. And those anvils can make other anvils, and then you can make tongs, and then you can start to sell things, and then you become a blacksmith. But you have to start somewhere. And every time you can metaphorically buy a forge and you don't have to build a forge, you're never going to learn how to build things. You got to learn how to build things. So that's the advice. It has nothing to do with the actual opinions of the software and has everything to do with the fact that it expects you to solve your problems. So what's with the hat again? I just told people I'd put the hat on. Also, that was great, says the idea of Alan. Thanks, Alan. Cool. So, draft. Remove hard-coded var run from next time the chalk. Cool. Did that help answer your question, though? Do you need to know data structures and algorithms? Yeah, sure. I want to be able to talk, like, you need to be able to speak the language, right? But like, that's not the conversation to have. The conversation to have isn't, do you know what a pair of tongs are? Or do you know what an anvil is? I don't care if you know what an anvil is. What I care about is that you can make shit out of metal. And if you're good at making shit out of metal, you shouldn't need all of these fancy tools and gadgets and gizmos. You should be able to just pick up a fucking rock and bang metal into a shape and make it look pretty. Right? Because you've just been banging metal your whole life. Like, at the end of the day, like, your job is just to hack shit together with computers, right? It doesn't matter which tools you know how to use or not. If you can't bang metal with a rock and make it look pretty, then, like, I don't really want to talk to you because you haven't been banging metal long enough. That's it. Got to get Brian Kernahan to start using Rust for a bit so he can write one, huh? Cool. So I want to get my local branch updated. If you want to challenge people would love rewrite grep in Rust. Will the stream be deleted after it ends? No, it'll be propagated. Okay, so this one was pushed 5 minutes ago. It looks like the person is still working on it, so I think I'm gonna let them continue to work. Things like C-Line help us be more efficient, but guarantee we can write high quality code with Nano and Notepad. Yeah. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I will just write code in Emacs, just kind of just like, cause it just like keeps me fresh, right? This PR will introduce the ability to specify a workload type for get POSIX signals. The goal is to come up with a pattern we can use across the entire Observe API. Google AIP.dev. API decisions. Okay, cool. Still actively working on this one. Got it. Okay, cool. So then I am going to git branch, git checkout main, git pull origin main. A good dev environment is kind of important though. It's what pushed me over the edge and actually got me being properly productive. I agree. Yeah, I mean, there's a million tips and tricks like that. Like, you need a good dev environment and you want a good computer and, you know, you need a good network of people around you, a safe place for people to talk to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of good tricks like that you can pick up. I still maintain my number one point running Linux specifically. There may be other open source operating systems that will give you the same thing, but in my opinion, Linux is the big one. Run Linux, learn how most professionals in the industry think about software, and embed yourself in that community. Maybe not the kernel, but just open source software in general, and you will learn more that way than anything else. And I think that as you learn these tips and tricks, none of these will be useful unless you can use the tools practically. You can go shit out as many algorithms as you want on the chalkboard, but until you can sit in front of an actual production system and write software that will do things on those actual computers, it's just we should be having other conversations. Yeah, I also really like FreeBSD. So let's see, git branch, main, and let's compile everything from main really quick, and then we'll start a new branch. Did I merge the cache code? I feel like I did. Did I merge DMA's cache code? I can't remember. I'm also like, I feel like I'm not gonna actually write any. No, we haven't merged the cache code yet. Let me update this. Let me tell DMA. VM dual boot main. I learned so much from setting up FreeBSD. FreeBSD is good. FreeBSD is a good operating system to learn because it reminds you that everything is kind of make-believe. What did Alisa said? I learned so much from setting up FreeBSD. Ah, got it. Is there a way I can get a link to the stream? I'm kind of new to the Twitch. Yeah, so just go to my Mastodon page here. And if you go to my profile, they're all propagated here. So here is I send out, like, every time I stream, I send out like a thing. You can go check it out there. And anyway, it's on YouTube and you can go see. Cool. And so we'll wait for DMA to update this. So I'm not really going to be able to move forward with CRI until this cache work is done. So we can maybe I just don't want to conflict with DMA's work. I think we might be waiting until DMA's cache is done before I can make any more progress on CRI. Which means I think it's time for me to go make my beautiful partner breakfast. So we'll wait for this to compile and then we'll run it and see where we are. And I'm gonna go make breakfast. So we're just waiting for the compiler now. Anyway, I'm sorry I didn't get to work on the CRI as much as I wanted. We're gonna let the cache come to completion, and then I'll be able to keep iterating. We have to do the container pull stuff, and that's really like the one outstanding thing I have in my head at this point. So we'll let the project keep growing and evolving, and we will keep iterating on it. We spent a lot of time with the news peruse this morning, which I feel like was fine. I feel like we should maybe start sneaking in more news peruses again. I think it's about time. It's been a while since we've done them. We can start to bring them back. Anything else? We're just waiting for the code at this point. Shout out to the mods. Faff and a boot. Who else was here? Tawny. Who else was here? I think I saw, was Zunder? Zunder's not here today. I don't know. There's Gannett was here. There's a couple of mods hanging out. I think Last Chain was here. Maybe I saw Ores. I can't remember. We have so many beautiful mods. It's hard for me to keep up. Oh, I can share my videos. If you guys want, you can go check out my video on the project, which is here on YouTube. And I will also say the GitHub repo is here if you're interested. Hey Corwin, how's it going? What would you change to make Git more accessible to the masses before Microsoft does it? I don't really have any opinions. I think like if I was younger and still learning Git, I would have probably like tried to come up with something a little more like beautiful and elegant and simple, but Feature may not be used in the Rust stable release channel. Cargo test Aurae.d. Corbin says, Chris Nova, welcome to the IntelliJ and Sea Lion bug. Is this the IntelliJ and Sea Lion bug? Thank you so much for the solid advice, for real. Yeah, of course. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here. It corrupts the target directory. Yes. So, Corwin, help me understand how I can fix this. If you've already figured out what to do with this, please just offer a complete sentence that explains how to fix this or how to bypass it. Generally, just remove target. So we'll run this again and then try to compile it again. Oh, I think my camera froze. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. It shoots better without target. Mercurial is more elegant, but it doesn't beat the ubiquity of Git. Sure. I don't have opinions. I realized a long time ago that I was going to be using Git, and now I work at GitHub, and it's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like driving on the right side of the road, where it's like, yeah, I guess maybe driving on the left side of the road would make more sense, but like at this point, I already know how to drive on the right side of the road, so I don't want to go relearn how to drive. Is the GitHub icon something you get from the company, or is it sold generally? Behind you, God, I'm not making much sense right now. No, you're fine. So the GitHub thing is like a it's like I don't think you have to work there, but like you have to know somebody who works there to get it. So I got it from one of the other VPs who works with me, who does developer advocacy. Really stellar dude named Martin. He gave that to me as like a gift. But I mean, you'll see people like Scott Hanselman, one of my colleagues at Microsoft, he has one as well. And so you'll see that like a lot of people who are, GitHub adjacent will have them. Cool. Well, I appreciate everyone being here. And I am wrapping up for the day. Looks like there's been a few messages in the Discord, but not much. I can't wait to start working in tech properly. This job hunting is killing me. I feel ya. Owen codes. Okay, so who do we want to raid? Thank you, Pink Gamer, for the subscription. I appreciate it. Oh, my camera keeps breaking on me. I think that is our sign that it is time for me to go. Theo is live. We're gonna raid Theo. So no, don't go. I have to go. I'm sorry. The raid has been created. Let's see if I can't fix this camera now. It still has my hat on it. Let's see. So we have camera, side camera. So we flip it off. We okay. And then we flip it back on, and 3, 2, 1, there it goes. I don't know why it does that. It's like weird Linux problems. See, this is what I mean. Now I'm going to go debug the kernel to figure out why my cameras are breaking, and I'll learn more about the kernel and camera drivers, and poof, there you go, I learned. And while I'm in there looking at camera drivers, I'll probably be like, oh, they run some video compression algorithm in C that I've used for some other thing, and look how they did it. And I learned how people practically apply algorithms today using video drivers, and next time I'm working on search or compiling bugs or debugging some distributed system, I'll be like, I actually know a really great way how to vendor algorithms in C because I had to go debug my camera drivers on Twitch one day, right? Like it's just, there it goes. It's fucking broken again. This is what I'm saying. Use the tools. Use the tools. Maybe it's an OBS bug, right? Maybe I have to go debug OBS and I get to go contribute to a C++ program now. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm out of here, folks. I love you all. I'll see you all next time.